Have you ever felt your ears ringing? Or sneezing a lot more than normal? Maybe a cough that's lingering a bit too long? A sudden chill down your spine? If your first thought is, oh, I'm just getting sick, you're nothing more than a fool. These have meanings, totally real and not superstitious meanings. Just a quick warning, some of these superstitions talk about religion and death, which could be a trigger for some viewers, so feel free to just click away if this isn't your cup of tea. Hello everyone, it's me, Savannah Story. Today I want to talk about the human body and superstitions. This thought experiment started a while back for me. For a bit of context, some family came over to visit and asked me if my ears were ringing all day. I said yes, because my ears were hurting me that day. I started explaining that I thought I was getting sick, I don't know what's going on. And they were like, no, we were just joking. It's an old wives' tale. Apparently it's an old wives' tale that if your ear is ringing, someone is talking about you. Which led me down the Wikipedia rabbit hole at 3 AM. Because where in the world did these superstitions originate from? I actually found out there are a lot of different meanings for normal human body things, like hiccups or laughing. I guess back in the good old days it just said stuff and it stuck. Now, I'm assuming we all heard about Pliny the Elder. You know, Pliny. I don't need to go into detail about who he is, because we all know him. But for those who forgot, I will give a brief reminder. Pliny was born into a wealthy family in Rome. He was able to complete his studies by 23. I am incredibly jealous. He then goes on to find a career in the German military. Sometime after, he is promoted to cavalry commander. He goes back to Rome to study law. There's so much more to his life, but I'll save that for a different day. But if that didn't fully jog your memory, the main reason we are talking about Pliny the Elder is because of the collection of books he wrote, The Natural History. I believe he's written about 37 books in his lifetime, all talking about different things. Some about zoology, some about botany, some about minerals and ores. The book that is important for today's topic is book 28, Remedies Derived from Living Creatures. To quote a passage from Pliny, and then besides, it is a notion universally received that absent persons have warning that others are speaking of them by the tingling of the ears. Because of Pliny the Elder's long book series, we now have a superstition about ear ringing. It grew and adapted over time, and many different cultures interpreted the meaning differently. Some say ringing in different ears lead to different things. If it's your left ear, people are talking smack. If it's your right ear, it was most likely someone just hyping you up. But the most logical reasoning behind this whole ear ringing or burning phenomenon is that our ears just kind of get hot when we get embarrassed. Or you just have to get your hearing checked, that's also another one. Okay, before we transition into our next thing, I have to just say one thing. Pliny the Elder had no children, but he did have a nephew, named Pliny the Younger. Super cool, I love that for him. Sneezing is another big name in the superstition world. Sneezing can be considered both a good thing and a bad thing depending on who or where you're from. But why do we say bless you? It's a common myth that when we sneeze, our heart just kind of stops, which isn't exactly the case. It really just changes its rhythm for 1 to 2 seconds. It has something to do with the electrical waves and such, but I'm not a doctor, so I don't really understand it. Back in the days of yore, though, they did not have this knowledge, so to their best guess, our hearts just took a brief pause. They would just say bless you to save your soul. I want to dive deeper into the Chinese folklore regarding sneezing, which dates back to the Tang Dynasty. Once again, we all know about the Tang Dynasty, no need for me to repeat it. But for those who forgot, I'll give a brief synopsis. There is a lot to be said about the Tang Dynasty and its great impact on the history of China. It was incredibly influential during its time, being founded in 618 by its first emperor, Li Yuan. It lasted a strong 289 years, till it fell in 907. During this time, everything was thrown into disarray, with a lot of theft, assassinations, and executions. The reign of the Tang Dynasty was officially over when Xu Wen announced himself the Emperor Taizhu. This is a piece of history I will definitely talk about in a future video because of its influence in China and across the globe. There is a book that describes the rites and different customs of the royal family during the Tang Dynasty period. One of the customs was to shout "Wan Sui" or "Long Live" whenever the emperor's mother sneezed. This phrase is still used today as a type of blessing. Another popular superstition in China is the amount of sneezes you do. Depending on how much you sneeze at a time decides whether it is considered a good omen or a bad omen. It goes kinda like this. One sneeze means you're missed, 2 sneezes means someone is talking badly about you, 3rd time someone is in love with you, and after that, you probably just caught a cold. Pliny also spoke about sneezing in one of his books. He brought up in the fact that many people have beliefs regarding sneezing and that they consider it an omen. Stepping away from omens, another superstition regarding sneezing is looking at the sun. You probably heard the phrase, if you need to let out a sneeze, stare at the sun, which I mean, it certainly is a choice. It's a phenomenon that is heard across the world and does hold at least some validity. Pop quiz time. What is this dream called? Is it A, something I'm definitely gonna butcher, autosomal dominant compelling heliophampic outburst? Definitely not the right pronunciation. B, photic sneeze reflex. Or C, achoo syndrome. Did you decide? Great. It was actually the secret 4th option, D, all of the above. You see, this is a specific gene that can be passed down from your parents. If you possess this gene, you most likely sneeze multiple times when there's intense shift in the lighting, like for example, burning your retinas in the sun. The leading theory is that the light is an irritant which triggers your optic nerve, kind of like when there's dust and you sneeze. But this time, it's your eyes that are irritated. Our pupils constrict and then send a signal to the trigeminal nerve, which then tells the sciences, hey, what's up? And they work together and we sneeze. Hiccups are also a common occurrence in the day-to-day life of an average Joe. We're going to take a gander over to Russia and take a look at their belief in hiccuping. It is said that if you're experiencing a hiccup, it's a sign someone is talking about you, which is much kinder than the Japanese superstition. They say if you hiccup 100 times in a row, it means you're just gonna die soon. Sorry. Now, if you know me from the world-renowned hit Dungeons & Dragons podcast that's not really a D&D podcast, but more so an overall YouTube channel called Wizards at Work, world-renowned pending, you would know I love all things fantasy. But why do I bring this up? Because back in medieval times, they believed that hiccups were caused by elves. Elves are considered mischievous creatures that would cause chaos and daily disturbances. Elf-Sagoa, or Elf Hiccup, was the name of this phenomenon back in the day. Elves originated in Norse mythology. In 1500, it started to gain some traction, and by 1800, everyone was incorporating these pesky, fantastical creatures into their stories. Alright, get ready for our bonus round. Basically, I found like a lot of extra little facts, and I had nowhere else to put them, so doing game show style so I can just ramble. 3, 2, 1, go! After visiting a relative's house that has passed away, go straight to your house afterwards, or else you risk bringing death to someone else. Make a wish when you tie someone else's shoe. It is said to bring back good luck. Back in the days of old, it is said if you couldn't focus on a task, put a fish head in your drawer. Don't wear red clothing during a storm, you might get struck by lightning. Finally, laughing a lot means that the person is being possessed and they will die soon. Sorry again. Personally, I wouldn't say I'm very superstitious, but then I realized some things I do draw back to old superstitions. Although they may not connect to the human body, there are some superstitions I absent-mindedly do, such as holding my breath and lifting my legs when driving past a cemetery. Something small I was absent-mindedly told to do when I was younger that sort of stuck. This really nails the point of how superstitions stick, being passed down by generations. Doing research on this topic really puts into perspective how similar many superstitions are across cultures and at the same time how different. One thing I truly found fascinating though is how the left and right side of the human body seem to mean the same thing across different cultures. It's like everyone universally agreed left is bad and right is good. I might come back to this topic again another day to talk about non-human body superstitions across different cultures because there are so many interesting ones, it's so hard to just put them all in one video. It's funny how every time I research a topic, I get like 13 more I want to talk about. But anyways, that's all for me today. As always, I will put my sources in the description below, and thank you for listening. I want to say thank you to all my friends for helping me with this video. Make sure to check out all their stuff in the description below, and go support our local library. Have a great day.